welcome back to another episode of the Halftime Podcast brought to you by the Bhoys. I am joined by new member Aaron, first and foremost, hailing from Kent. He's a property salesman. He makes the sales, so he's got the gift of the gab. So give Aaron a warm welcome in the comments. And as sort of per last episode, we've got Bran, we've got Chaz, we've got Copley, Jim, and Sip. So we are missing someone. Obviously, Callum, our fearless leader, has left us today. So I'll be sort of looking after all of that stuff. So Callum, just want to let you know, if you are hearing this, we are very disappointed in you. I can speak for all of the Bhoys. We are disappointed in you now. We take attendance like a classroom, and you have the cheek to ditch us on our first proper episode.
It was meant to be Milk Monitor this week as well, though.
Shame.
Crazy.
Absolutely disgusted. But look, we'll get over it. We'll forgive and forget, but or not, we'll see. But yeah, thank you to everyone who tuned in over the weekend as well. That was our first weekend. It was a success. There are a few skew with graphics. West Ham image came up and covered Chaz's poor face, but ultimately we hit 50 subs on YouTube, and to sort of our listeners on Spotify as well. Thank you very much. So yeah. Also, there's one more day left of the competition for the football shirt, so that'll be on the our Twitter account, which is BhoysPresents. Link in the description if you are watching on YouTube, and just BhoysPresents on Twitter if you're on Spotify. And with that said, if you do like what you're seeing and what you've seen over the weekend, please do drop us a follow, drop us a subscription on all of our socials. They'll also be linked down below. But without further ado, we'll round up game week 1, which started off with Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. Of course, we had Chaz and Aaron, the Arsenal fans. So Chaz and Aaron, Arsenal back to their winning ways. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I mean, I'm happy, simple as that. I'm happy. Week 1 is out of the way. We played first team to play. We kicked off the Premier League. I mean, it was not the performance that every Arsenal fan wanted. We dominated for 30 minutes. I think both Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher came out and said, look, for the first 30 minutes, you could have mistook them for Liverpool or City. I mean, simple fact is that they were dominant. They were, everything that they were trying was working. I think the only thing that annoyed me about the first 30 minutes is that it wasn't more than 1-0. It should have really at least been 2-0. But I mean, yeah, apart from that, I'm happy. I thought we looked shaky at the back at times. After a mistake, we looked a bit shaky. But I think, obviously Saliba, he put in a man of the match performance. Debut in the Premier League. You got Gary Neville saying that he reminds him of a young Rio Ferdinand, and that in itself is a monumentous compliment, that is, because everyone knows how fucking incredible Ferdinand was. So to play your first game for Arsenal in the Premier League, to get a man of the match performance, a clean sheet, 3 points, I mean, what more can an Arsenal fan want?
I mean, I don't think I haven't got any room to speak, have I? I think Chaz has summed it all up. I'm meant to be involved in the podcast, Chaz.
No, come on, you must have somewhat of a...
I was going to say the main thing I would say is obviously we were shaky in the midfield and at the back, but obviously Saliba was, I think, the standout from what we can potentially take away from that game. And as you said, the first 30 minutes, it was just a joy for Arsenal fans again. We haven't been able to watch our team play as well as them 30 minutes. Yes, first game of the season, so there's going to be first game nerves and stuff. But no, it was a joy to watch, and I'm thoroughly happy that the fact that we've got them 3 points and a clean sheet.
Yeah. Just quickly, going into the game on Friday, obviously I was on the show with me, Copley, Bran, and Aaron, and the thing that I said before the game was White against Zaha, I'm nervous for. And I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you support Arsenal, you would have been nervous for that. And I think you could say that White had an average game. You know, he got done a couple of times. But the interesting thing about it was that I saw a stat on social media today. Actually, White actually put in the most tackles an Arsenal player has put in one single game. And that, you know, the last person, it was like 8 tackles or 9 tackles or something like that. And the last person to do that was Lucas Torreira against Liverpool 4 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago. So, as average as people think his performance may have been, I think he actually probably done pretty well. I mean, Zaha was actually pretty muted in the end, really. I mean, yeah, Saliba bailed him out once or twice, but I mean, a centre back playing right back against one of the players in the league that can be somewhat of the biggest threat towards goal, I can't really complain that much.
I think the stat's a bit skewed when you think of it that way, because when that's your one-on-one opportunity, you're going to have to put tackling after tackling, aren't you? But he did nullify Zaha pretty well.
Yeah, but I mean, I guarantee that Zaha's successful take on Ben White is less than Ben White's tackles on him throughout the game. So, I mean, like I said, he's a centre back playing right back. It's a difficult job to do. Like on your first times, properly playing right back against him, and it wasn't perfect. He done the job. I mean, they didn't concede, so we'll take it, I guess.
Absolutely, and I mean, there's also sort of ex player in Patrick Vieira against his old club, and obviously Mikel Arteta is an ex player as well. But to be fair, I mean, it looked when I was watching it, looked like Arsenal sort of clearly deserved that win. They looked on top. Of course, Martinelli, I'm not letting him get away with that spooning of that shot, because Jesus literally. That dribble was unbelievable. That was goal of the month contender. And then for Martinelli to just spoon it like that, it was a bit of a disgrace to the work that Jesus had put in that position. So, you know, just wanted to sprinkle that one in before we sort of move on to the other fixtures. And I mean, if we're going sort of in chronological order, we'll touch on the 12:30 game, the cursed 12:30 Saturday game as well. That is Fulham versus Liverpool at Craven Cottage. Of course, resident Liverpool fan Jim, you were watching that. That's one that we didn't cover over the weekend. But what were your thoughts as a Liverpool fan watching that?
Disappointing. It was, you know, it's just so hard to start on it. To be honest, it was fucking awful. You got just an aging midfield getting completely outplayed by average Fulham players, to be honest. Virgil van Dijk getting skinned.
King Mitrovic.
We ain't seen it
Michael.
often. We have not seen it often, but when you do see it, it does not feel nice.
Yeah, it was.
It was horrible.
Pitch was too dry as well, I heard.
Pitch was so dry. Like I looked at it from the cameras and I just thought, this is unplayable. This is just outrageous. Should be given 3 points for that, to be honest. But you know, we move.
Etihad Don's home ground.
As bad as it was, did get a draw in the end. You know, something some teams couldn't get this weekend. We're playing bad.
Oh my god!
He's twisting the knife already.
Worrying away room free.
40 minutes. And yeah, it looks a different team, to be fair. I mean, Firmino was so bad, and Nunes got a goal and an assist, and we actually had some chances. So yeah, it's decent.
I mean, as much as it is quite clearly disappointing for Liverpool fans, I don't think you can take anything away from Fulham. I mean,
oh no,
they played a good game, you know, and I would say that their defence wasn't exactly anything outstanding, but going forward, they look somewhat okay.
I mean, you both hit the woodwork, right?
Yeah.
When you dissect it, as much as we should beat them on paper, like back to the Prem for the first time at their home ground at 12:30, it really wasn't a great fixture to start off the season.
Worst time to play them, really.
And
yeah.
they were tricky. They were exactly what you want. Fucking, they were up for it from every fucking minute. Just relentless.
They came out
And
confident, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, you're playing Liverpool, one of the best teams in the world, and
was,
just came out
mate,
confidence.
Biggest respect to them, because most teams would cower, park it, and probably get beaten. And they just absolutely came for us and got a result from it. So they deserved it.
And of course, a man of the match performance from Mitrovic. I mean, I don't know if people saw that coming. Don't know.
Inflatable dartboard, wasn't it? It was an inflatable dartboard on Friday.
I heard myself say Premier League Zeus.
I mean, fair play to him, because I mean, it hasn't. It certainly. I know it's first game of the season, but it certainly hasn't always gone swimmingly for Mitrovic in the Premier League. You know, last time they came up from the Championship, Mitrovic dominated the Championship and was a sack of shit in the Premier League. So to come up and to score 2 goals in your first game in the Premier League this season is a feat in itself. But to do it against Liverpool, I mean,
where you've got the better of Van Dijk, like not just the better of him, but
down.
The Cruyff turn where he turned into a little midget spinner, like how he's done that, I have no idea. And then to win the penalty, and you know, nobody's ever took Van Dijk on like that and made Van Dijk look inferior. Like it's always been the intimidation factor, and he's just thought, nah, not today, son.
But like, there was a couple positives.
Yeah.
This game of season, you do need to look at positives.
Yeah,
I think this was a big one.
Endo
subs was a good one, a big one. Like with the new 5 subs, which hasn't been talked about yet, but we made a host of changes and it changed the game massively. Whereas you could see Fulham were struggling because the quality is just not the same on the bench.
Yeah,
100%. And I mean, newly promoted Fulham, that's a dream result for them. Pick up a point.
Beautiful.
Every point counts if you're Fulham. And I mean, moving on to sort of to Bournemouth as well, because they're another team that kind of shocked me. They were my yo-yo team. They were going back down.
Everyone seemed to go down.
But
it's disgraceful from Villa.
Yeah,
disgraceful.
So the Vitality Shed, not Stadium Shed, as we were saying.
I think Shed is being generous.
Yeah.
It's like
tin can.
Tin can could be anything, but
they take a corner from one side. You can see the burger van outside, and that is not a joke. You can actually see the burger van outside.
It does remind you of a League 2 stadium.
Yeah, and it should stay there.
Yeah, 100%. Go back down, please.
But you know, come up first game of the season in front of their home fans, beating Villa. I mean, it just doesn't get
Much
easier. Gerrard does it because you know he came in last season. And although they were apparently playing this good football and they looked good, you look at their results and there wasn't really anything to sing or dance about, to be honest. So, I mean, Gerrard and Villa in general they'll be fuming. That's how the start of their season's gone.
Yeah.
Did anyone see his stat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
35% win ratio.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Premier League is the best league in the world, so it is different in that respect.
So it's a different club size as well.
Yeah, but also the thing that gets me is, like I said, there was a bit of a sing and a dance about the way that Gerrard was getting Villa to play football.
Yeah.
But the results and the points just don't seem to come from anywhere. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do this season. It really is.
It's the goals that should massively.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what's happened to Ings.
You got him in your FPL, mate.
He was my bargain of the season.
Yeah,
I already transferred him out.
He's taking a free hit. Taking a free hit. To be fair to Villa, they did give it a go, but Bournemouth defended really, really well. I like looking at the stats, possession wise, all over them. Obviously, possession doesn't mean everything. And they had 15 shots, which is double what Bournemouth had. So, like, they did have a go. It's just the quality. The quality.
You're on target.
They only had 2 on target.
You're playing Bournemouth. Playing nice football against Bournemouth or Norwich is fucking great when you're 8-0 up.
I can do that.
But when you're 2-0 down and still playing great football, who gives a shit?
Do you know what?
Ball's got to go in the back of the net at some point.
You have to say that Bournemouth scoring within 2 minutes probably
Yeah.
kind of set the tone for the game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that tin can was rocking before the whistle went. But to score a goal after 2 minutes and you return to the Premier League, that thing would have been rolling. It was off. Like after that goal, it would not have been easy for Villa, and I mean clearly it wasn't.
Yeah, and rumour has it Vitality Shed is now 15 minutes out of Plum, and that is absolutely shocking. So
that was just the wind.
That was just
A stiff breeze is all it took.
Absolutely shocking.
So I mean, if we look at it just from there, two out of the three sides are satisfied with their results straight off the bat. However, Newcastle, the mighty Toon, disappointed Forest, and that game was really exciting. Brand, do you want to tell us more about that game?
It was. I mean, we were playing Forest, weren't we? And I mean, me and Chaz spoke about it after. Like, Forest looked piss poor.
Yeah.
But I did want to say, and I spoke to Jim about it as well. I want to say for the first half, we should have been 2-3-0 up. Lionel Miggy, aka Almiron, absolutely unbelievable on the right wing. Joelinton wasn't like unreal.
He controlled the game.
As well. Yeah, Bruno as well, finding passes that just like even a fortune teller couldn't pick them out. It was absolutely incredible. No, it was a good result. 2 absolute unbelievable goals. One of them's going to go under the radar heavily.
Yeah,
Fabian Schär's rocket strike and Callum Wilson's lovely little dink over the keeper.
Do you know what?
That Wilson goal was disgusting.
Yeah, Wilson's goal was a thing of sheer beauty.
Yeah.
You know what? And the fact that it was so obvious how much he meant it as well. It wasn't just like, right, let's stick a toe out and see where it goes. You see him stick his foot out and very slightly glance it, and you're like, he's meant that 100%, and it was a fucking finish. But
it was just it just defined finesse, that finish, and it was it was an unbelievable game to watch, and an even better result for us.
Yeah. And to be honest, really happy that Dean Henderson's going to drop the ball on both goals. To be honest, especially after that interview he made. It's like, as a Man United fan,
let it go.
Look, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm not
you
bitter.
are.
I'm not bitter about it. It's just like
I don't
know how you can sit. I don't know how you can sit there and rip
that. Move on. You cheered City's goals today.
Yeah, I'd be emailing his agent asking him to come back.
We'll get on to that, but still, yeah.
Lord knows we're spending a good amount of time on that game.
Yeah. Also, right. Nottingham Forest pre-season podcast. I had them as my overachievers. And you know, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change my opinion, right? But they didn't look good.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of new players.
I was going to say the fact that their squad is very different.
Yeah, I mean,
they had 6 starters from last year, 5 days.
Yeah,
I mean, wow. I do agree with all of that, but I'm just not taking anything away from the pivotal part of what we did in that game. Like the chance creation was from the start. If we take it back an entire year when we had Brucey at the helm, then it was horrible compared to what was on show. So Forest were very, very poor. They did not come out ready for anything. But we set a very good tone from the get-go.
Yeah, I get what you mean with that. There was nothing worse than shooting into match of the day, like back in the day, and your team had won, and it wasn't your team were good. It was just the other team were really poor, and you're like, no, come on, help us out a little bit.
It was a little bit like that, but we did show some class. So
can we also appreciate how high of a grade Nottingham Forest set piece coach must be smoking? Because
that was Sunday League.
Right?
I used to do that in Sunday League.
That was mind blowing. I mean, I get it. You know, you get to run on your opponent, but when the ball goes straight to the keeper, it just looks embarrassing.
It looks bad.
They've robbed that of FIFA.
Literally.
You need to do that in like under 12s, under 13s on a Sunday. Just meet on the edge of the box, say, right, you run here, you run here, you run here, then all just run. But that was it was expert.
I thought they were playing British Bulldog at one point. So.
Trust me.
I can't wait for us to do it on pro clubs.
We'll make it work though, don't worry.
We will make it work. It'll be on...
Apologies in advance.
Yeah. it'll be Barry Bopley's head that we'll be finding on the on the pro clubs. But I mean, the next game we'll be speaking about is the mighty Spurs against Southampton. Probably probably, you could argue,
Shut up, Jim.
the most comfortable win of the weekend. And Sipple, we had you live and direct at the stadium, earpiece in. So, hey, how was the atmosphere first of all, and then sort of what the match was like, basically?
Atmosphere was pretty rocking, to be fair. Obviously, like I said, we're finishing on the high that we did last year, the summer that we've had. There was no real reason that the atmosphere should have been anything but, to be honest. It was pretty rocking. Obviously, the early goal from James Ward-Prowse sort of quieted that down for a bit, but it was just it was vital to get an early reply, and then obviously the rest of it was pretty easy sailing. And I know, obviously, I have Southampton in my thing to go down, and because they are utter pony, and I mean absolute pony. Don't get me wrong.
GoFundMe for the own goal.
I slipped him a tenner, made a paper aeroplane out of it. The only hope is that keeper that they've signed from Southampton, because he's actually he made some decent saves.
Southampton.
Yeah. Bazunu from Man City. That's their only hope, because the rest of them are just absolute pony.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a Spurs fan's point of view, I think the thing that you're probably happiest with most is the fact that last season, at times, it was a bit of the Son and Kane show with a sprinkle of Kulusevski on the right.
Oh, it's been that for years.
But yesterday, Son and Kane were the worst two Spurs players on the pitch.
Yeah,
by far.
Genuinely, I was saying, like, with the additions we've got, it's improved everyone's, like, obviously the competition breeds improvement. So Perisic has come in, Sessegnon look better, centre mids look better, and like I said, the fact that them two can have an off day and we can still win 4-1, and like I said, with the 5 subs now, being able to, like, our depth, being able to bring on Perisic, Basuma, Mora, Longley, Doherty is just what we need. Like I said, the window wasn't about improving our first 11 too much. It was just making sure that if we needed it, our bench had something to give. So apart from the goal, it doesn't get much better than that for an opening
Just
day.
like to point out how much of a loose cannon Romero is.
Yeah,
there was a goal. There was a goal, and Romero's come up behind. Was it Son?
No, it's Dyer. Punched him in the back.
You should give him a liver jab.
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
Shadowboxing, but wasn't shadowboxing.
He's an absolute psycho.
It's not like he's run up and just give him a. He's got.
No, it was a proper.
He's a maniac.
Floyd Money May would have been proud of that one, but
also his stupidly rash scissor challenge. Like, it doesn't make sense. You're breathing.
He has them in him every game, which is why when we were discussing FPL and I was speaking to coppers about Dyer or Romero, I was like, look, Romero's a shoo-in for a booking once every 2 games. So
it's bored. It's like, you know what? It's a bit boring. I'm gonna
let's spice it up a bit.
Yeah, let's
see
if I can get
that
yellow.
Family member when there's no drama about, they go out and cause some.
Yeah,
that's what he is. He's like that
rash cousin.
Yeah,
he's just come out of prison.
You've gone shopping with your cousin, and he's gone up to someone and just give them a little low blow and run off. Like,
also, he didn't even get a booking for that. And
No,
I think a bit later in the podcast, I think we will need to touch on referees' performances this weekend, because we're in
fucking shambles.
First game of the season, and already it's quite evident that the refs are still fucking clueless.
Yeah. And the thing is, that free kick was 25 yards out, and they put James Ward-Prowse over it. I was like, that was just the one thing you don't want to give a free kick to just outside your box is Southampton. But luckily, after his goal, he done
his finish was unbelievable as well.
that goal,
that technique was nuts.
That was beautiful, but it did kind of wake Spurs up, and they then just took over straight away. But...
So Kulusevski had a fucking game,
mate.
The way you were playing with your fullbacks and the two, and mainly him, I wouldn't even say Son, mainly him cutting inside was unreal.
The thing
is,
he
was putting in.
Because he doesn't look like a footballer. Like, he just looks clumsy. Do you know what I mean? When he runs, he doesn't. But like, and he's the most one-footed player I've seen since Eric Lamela, and that's saying something. But he played an absolutely incredible game, and like I said, that's hopefully what we've got to look forward to. More of that.
Absolutely, and I mean, that's a fantastic result. It's probably, like I said, that was probably like the most comfortable win of the sort of game week. I mean, the sort of next fixtures that we have on aren't particularly the prettiest. We've got Leeds United versus Wolves, which is just when you say Leeds United versus Wolves, you just know it's going to be scrappy. There's going to be loads of bookings.
It just makes my ADHD kick in, really.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, to Leeds' credit, they pulled out a result. I know that they were sort of the shout for people to go down. So I mean, get a result against Wolves is pretty big in the grand scheme of the season.
I'm on Chaz's wavelength with this. That Wolves are going to heavily underachieve. I mean, rumor has it now that Cody's off to Everton.
He's gone. He's
gone.
Yeah, that's it. He's pretty much gone. So there's your centre half gone. Wolves look so chaotic within themselves, with and without the ball, that I know Leeds like to turn it into a scrappy game, but it doesn't help if you've turned up and thought, I could do one better than Leeds here. Let me make it scrappy. It wasn't the best showing from Wolves at all. So I've no hopes for them.
Yeah,
it was a terrible, terrible game to try and keep track of.
I don't see it with Wolves this season. I mean, goals conceded wise last season, they were good defensively, but they haven't really brought anyone in. And that's, you know what, I just had a feeling. I just felt like that they were going to be underachievers, and that's why I've got that Bruno Lage and top 3 managed to be sacked first. I can't see him doing much this season.
He put up a good fight at the end though against Jesse Marsh.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, he was one that put in the most fight, to be fair. So gnarly, man.
What the frick, dude? Get out of my face, bro. What the heck?
You know where I'm from, Doc?
But yeah, I mean, and I'm kind of grimacing at bringing this game up. It just leaves a really awful. You know, when you wake up in the morning, you're a little bit dehydrated. You just got that shit in the back of your throat. That's literally Everton-Chelsea. That game was just it was horrible. Like, obviously, I was covering it on sort of Saturday. It was literally the deadest game. Didn't get helped by the fact that we had a few stoppages.
18 minutes.
18 minutes on top of the 90.
I wouldn't put my worst enemy through that game.
Yeah, it was
fucking boring.
Literally,
Jesus Christ.
Neither team wanted to win. Essentially, the only thing that happened was Doucouré just literally pushed someone in the back for a penalty. Clearest penalty like I've seen.
Oh, it's just back.
Apart from since today,
You say that.
Apart from today,
But the highlight, Sib, you said she's back. The highlight was literally Sterling.
Sterling Mina, they were getting.
He had no right being that botation.
No.
I'm just saying.
He's fully arched his back, and then Mina's.
He's done that before.
He is
my king, absolute king.
I know the game was boring, yeah, but before the game, people looked. I mean, us lot looked at the Everton lineup and thought, "Fuck me,
Jesus,
they're fucked."
Yeah.
But from what I saw,
they still are.
Yeah, but from what I saw, they didn't play that bad. Bear in mind they lost both their centre backs. I
think Chelsea. Me and Jim said if it wasn't Sterling, Chelsea had no. Mount couldn't find him on the pitch at all.
Yeah.
You had Havertz, who he's only good for an elbow once in a while and getting a tap in. Kante running around, didn't know what direction he was going in, just head between his legs, charging. Jorginho, I think he had about 9 touches during the entire game.
One being the penalty.
Yeah.
And one, yeah. It was just one of those games. Thiago Silva as well, I just want to touch on. Slowest centre half. I know he's old.
Maguire.
Fuck me.
But also, you say that, right? And there's definitely a sprinkle of 5-back tacks in this statement. But defensive wise, he was first for all the stats. Like,
he was class. He was
it's still class, but there was. I think there was 2 or 3 occasions where.
Oh no, you're not discrediting Thiago Silva. He was beautiful.
No.
He's class. I wouldn't put him for the egg and spoon races, basically.
No, not at all. He'd be your first
3-legged races. If he was tied up with Usain Bolt, he might come in a close second.
Absolutely.
But Everton.
Just didn't look like
too bad.
I don't know where they were scoring from. Like Gordon and Demarai Gray was.
And midfield wise, they were decent. They went toe to toe with Chelsea.
Tell you what's strange.
No one to put it in.
What's strange is Iwobi playing that kind of pivot role. It's mind blowing to me.
It might have been like Joel Linton.
Yeah.
No,
Winger
don't you
turned-
dare
Like-
disrespect Joe Linton.
Flop turned
No.
into centre mid, and he actually did well.
No,
From what, yeah, from what I
did
saw,
play-
he played
did-
well.
He did have a
played
very good
very
game.
well.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, that's what's so frustrating about that game is that Everton should have, and like, they should have punished Chelsea.
They should have got a result.
If,
Like, they
if
should have got
Gordon
a
was on the
result.
wing and DCL was playing,
Yeah,
was
like,
Maybe.
no
Maybe.
doubt, no
Maybe.
doubt that there's a result. But
We said this before the game as well, isn't it? Everton might be in with a shout if they keep DCL fit.
Gordon was on
Yeah,
his own.
24
up top.
hours later and he's out.
yeah, absolutely. And
So I'm going to try and refrain from mentioning his name for the sake of all Everton fans in the country.
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're going to be worried because I don't know where their goals are coming from.
I mean, I do hope they kind of go down though, because absolutely awful team. But yeah, Chelsea. Yeah. So in conclusion, Everton
Were you
shit.
about Chelsea?
Chelsea awful. Tuchel ball. I do not believe in Tuchel ball. And that's all that needs to be said on the matter. Leicester City and Brentford. 2-2 result. I don't think that's one that sort of we particularly covered. Over on the stream, except from sort of the scoreline. Obviously,
I watched the highlights.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one
Two
thing
bangers.
one thing of note
good
is
goals.
that Leicester took a 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
And then
Started it.
Brentford came back. So if you're Brentford away from home getting a draw, you're happy. If you're Leicester, you kind of ruin that result. And
Yeah.
maybe if
I saw.
Madison had a solid effort to try and enforce his move away
Get him
from
in
the
the
club.
shop window.
Yeah,
I
and
saw-
he done well for himself.
I saw Rogers' post-match interview, and
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah.
he's put it down to fatigue, right? He's put their dip in their tactical ability towards the end of the game down to fatigue, right? And I think that's poor.
He made one sub. If your team's that tired, use the 4 other subs you've got.
Firstly, you got 5 subs to use, yeah. Why use one? Secondly, right? You've been planning. You've been planning for the start of this season for 11 weeks now, yeah. You got Conte making Spurs player run for 2 hours after fucking training, right? Why are your players fatigued?
That's a joke.
Explain that to me.
That is a joke.
That's embarrassing. But don't take anything away from Brentford.
Just an absolute wet lettuce.
Yeah, don't take anything away from Brentford. I mean, away from home, 2-0 down to come back and draw 2-2. If you're Thomas
Not a
Frank,
character.
you're taking
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't really know why I put them down to go down, to be honest.
And yet again, Tony.
I really like Brentford.
Yeah, fuck Thomas Frank.
Yet again, Tony showing why someone should have probably came in and grabbed him.
yeah,
Yep, as we've been
Yeah.
saying for months.
Anyone, like any
It's-
club.
but
But you see,
Needs a
sorry, can I say Brentford used all 5 of their subs, so it's no surprise that they managed. It's not like we were actually saying before the game. It's like, oh, you look at Leicester's squad; it's not that bad, like realistically. But like I said, that you had Iheanacho, Perez on the bench, not used. I mean, Mark Albrighton's not great, but again, probably could have done something. You think
that
Your players are tired. They're going to be
Yeah,
better.
No,
Like,
when,
if they're-
when we say they're not great, they're better than some of these players on the pitch when it gets to 80
Well,
minutes.
Yeah,
Did-
absolutely. But it's like don't moan about fatigue and then not use the one thing the league have
Yeah.
implemented to help
Did
your team with fatigue.
did Iheanacho come on?
No, only
No,
Patrick Duffy
crazy.
came on for Dewsbury Hall.
That's
So
crazy.
you're
But Dewsbury
gonna
Hall.
go- Yeah,
Dewsbury
yeah.
You
scored.
tell me 37-year-old fucking Jamie Vardy's run around for 90
Running
minutes
around
and
while
Brendan
he's
Rodgers are playing
legs.
without fatigue. Like,
Yeah.
you've got Iheanacho on the bench. Send him on. Tell him to run the fucking
Yeah.
channels.
Yeah,
That's
Isaac
pathetic.
Perez, Albrighton.
Albright's
Yeah,
not good, but if your
Again.
players are tired, fresh legs are fresh legs.
yeah. That excuse I don't think will run at most during the season, but definitely not on the first fucking day. That's
Yeah.
just
I mean, Brendan Rodgers definitely was just spending the whole of summer in Benidorm, just living it up, thinking,
whining on
I'm,
Gal.
I'm so fucked. That's pretty much it. I'm
I've
just
seen one thing on
absolutely
BBC Sport. I
Did
saw,
you not
obviously
hit-
we didn't watch it. So Aaron Hickey getting man of the match for
Yeah.
their new right back
yeah.
that Arsenal were linked with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did they right back?
Yeah,
yeah. it seems
Yeah,
like-
See,
yeah.
whenever Arsenal were
Plays
linked with
left
him, whenever Arsenal were linked with him, it was like he plays left back but can play
Aaron
right back.
plays
So
both, yeah.
So
he
Brendan
plays
Rodgers
both.
took up a summer job as well as Nottingham Forest's
mean-
set piece coach.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, I'm surprised Arsenal didn't go for Hickey, but you know,
Not too sad with Zinchenko.
no. But also, if it becomes apparent that he starts at right back for Brentford, Arsenal need that kind of probably, in my opinion, Arsenal's biggest weakness is at right back. And
Aaron Lamptey would do a job for you.
well, I said on Friday, I said the one player that Arsenal don't have is that quick, that nippy, that the player that can turn on a sixpence, in a fullback position, and we might come unstuck there, but Hickey would have been a good option, good depth.
Oh.
And what I'm going to do is we'll talk about the City game and then
Good idea,
and
Brick.
then the United game, because I mean City 2-0, Erling Haaland routine, but like that turn from Gundogan to give the ball into Haaland for the penalty was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean Haaland's just Haaland. He's going to score. Probably a little bit disappointed that he got subbed off. For the hat trick.
He could have had that. He could have had the hat trick
Yeah.
already. I think it's looking very grimacing for any team that's got to play them this season. Your centre half has got to be on fucking Heelys to keep up with them. And unless you're Dan Noutdorf Burn, then you want to take the physical approach with him. Because I said to Jim, and Aaron, it's pretty difficult to play the City team. When you look at their forward, you go, can I beat him physically? Probably not. Can I beat him in a foot race? Probably not. You can't play a high line because he'll just muscle you off and turn. And you can't play a deep line because he's just going to run in behind. And with people like De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Grealish, Foden,
it's nuts.
Tell me one person. I'd rather give Haaland the ball and let him do it himself than have any of them on the ball as well.
It's crazy.
Do you know what? Yeah, that pass was nice. And his second goal was nice. He should have had a hat trick. In his post-match interview, he said that it's a bit shit that he didn't get a hat trick. They were literally his words. But also, the thing that I think, apart from his runs, the thing that I think I noticed most, and I said it in our match coverage today, was there was a moment when Jack Grealish ran towards the byline, and as Haaland's seen that, he's seen this 2 or 3 seconds before the West Ham defender has even processed it. He's already made his direct run towards the near post. He's miles ahead of the West Ham defender, and he just looks sharp. He looks like a we all know that he's a proper striker. But, I mean, he looks like he's going to be able to do it in the Prem as well.
West Ham did look very poor.
Yeah, they rolled over. They looked
awful.
I think any side who hasn't made any signage, you can't. What do you really expect?
They've made a few though. They've made
£30 million centre back. Their starting lineup was exactly the same today as
£30 million striker. The new they got Max Corn.
Max Corner, I don't think he was registered in time, but obviously Scamaca came on. But obviously by that
awful. They looked so bad.
Do you know what?
There was a 10-15 minute period after the second half as well where City just were giving the ball away. They almost wanted West Ham to have a little sniff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think obviously if that happens against the Liverpool or someone,
I didn't see City as unbeatable as Brand makes out. I still see him.
I don't know, but I'm talking about with what we saw today, with how potent that link up is going to be. Like, Van Dijk's your best hope, but if Mitrovic is putting him on his arse, imagine what Haaland. I'm putting it in that way.
Though, and Van Dijk's already played against him.
Yeah, but you wait till Mitrovic is at Anfield. He thrives away from home.
I mean,
I was quickly going to say so West Ham done today what far too many teams do, and that's let City play the way that City want to play. And as soon as City are allowed to play the way they want to play, they're going to demolish you, right? Yeah, unless you're a team that go in there with a game plan specifically for City, for example, Spurs, you don't stand a chance against them, because the second you let them play the way they want to play, they demolish you, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah, they just pick you off.
Yeah, they do. They literally pick you off, and I mean, sort of with regards to sort of how City played and stuff like that, Man United kind of did the opposite. We'll move on to Man United now.
Just quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Our good friend here, Sip, has just indeed put a picture of the Bournemouth versus Aston Villa game, and it's a Bournemouth corner, and you can indeed see a burger van in the background.
Literally.
Fantastic.
Tin pot.
It's brilliant. But back to the more important, impressive match.
So City. So the parallels, right? So we watch United play. We watch United play, right? And then you watch
Sorry,
City
on Spotify, but
my God. Yeah. So Copley's got a face like a slapped ass at the moment. Really sorry, but Man United played with absolutely no identity for 65 minutes. That first half, we may as well not have shown up. So, obviously, Brighton 2, Man United 1, away from home. Brighton's first victory at Old Trafford.
Ever.
All time, ever. Potable prevailed, but Manchester United were literally... It was Ralph ball, it was Ole ball, there was no desire, there was no passion, and it was just the same old, same old. Defence left out to dry, midfield completely disconnected from the attack, and even, I'd say, Rashford and Sancho were just not asked about tracking back or anything.
Piss poor.
I want to hear Copley's review first.
The first few minutes, we didn't mention it. The first few minutes as well, we had a chance where Bruno fucking skies it. And now I think about it, it reminds me exactly of the Liverpool game last year where we got bummed 4-0, where Bruno has that one chance early, and then we're like, oh, he's missed it. And it's almost like we went, shit, well, we're fucked now. I don't know what happened, and we just went into our shell, and it just went to shit. The fact that fucking Brighton's midfield is absolutely dominating us like that is a joke.
Yeah.
I've ranked our midfield probably is 16th in the league at best. That's worrying.
Do you know what? And bear in mind, I said in today's watch along, my hatred for United is there. It is huge, right? But watching United today as a football fan, and Sip will agree with me, was fucking infuriating. Yeah, it was fucking infuriating. I mean, the first 45 minutes, every member of United looked like they didn't want to be there. I mean, it's incredible. It just makes no sense to me. You've got Fred playing in the 6 who isn't a 6. You've got that back 4 who Welbeck had every single member of that back 4 on ropes, right? Yeah. And this isn't fucking Haaland we're talking about. This isn't Gabriel Jesus, this isn't Harry Kane, this is Danny fucking Welbeck, who, with all due respect, has been a good servant to many clubs, but he's a donkey, right? And to get dominated and to get put on strings the way that the United defence did by Welbeck is just, it's mind-blowing to me.
New
it's
manager,
crazy.
You're meant to have a bounce, you're meant to have...
Can I stip... Oh, go on, Jim.
No, I'm just saying, you're meant to have
I want to
stipulate...
stipulate...
That's meant to be your best time.
Yeah, the first game of the season, you should be full of your energy. You should be running for everything.
It makes no sense how that first half went that way.
The difference between Bruno and Eriksen.
This is what I was saying from the start. Sorry, Karen.
This is the wastefulness of Bruno in the position of freedom he got given in the first half, up until Big ETH made his changes and brought Fred off. In my opinion, McMuffin should have came off before Fred. Because he was fucking absolute.
They were shit.
He was
fucking useless.
I'm actually getting vexed thinking about it.
That's what I mean.
That's the thing with United.
In my head, I'm talking about it, and I'm seeing him lose the ball and run, and it's pissing me off to the point where I'm having to stop.
Somebody can't make a 5-yard pass. 5 yards. Anyone here can make a 5-yard pass. He can't, and plays for Manchester United. Starts every fucking week.
There's 5 of us here that fucking hate United, and I reckon at least 4 of us were actually infuriated watching the way that their players played football.
Yeah, I weren't.
Literally, right? And I could. Go on, Aaron.
I was just going to say, I just didn't get their game plan. I pointed out to Bram when we were watching it. It was McTominay was your furthest player forwards when the ball was at the back. You're between your 2 defenders, and it was just being part. And I just didn't. I could not comprehend why he was there. Why are you making the players who your creative players drop back to collect the ball, then pass it to someone who should be doing that job in the first place? I.e. Rodri, his job is to defend and then start the attack. McTominay is your furthest player forward, doing fucking nothing, and it's just mind-boggling. I just don't get it.
Honestly, I think we could all go on about them today for so long. And I know me personally, there are so many things that I would love to say about them. But I think the biggest thing is the fact that how you can have this new manager and all the fans are excited about this new manager, the Ten Hag era, and how as a player you can go out there and still perform the way that you performed last season is beyond me. Like, on Brighton's second goal, yeah, it's a counter-attack. United give the ball away. Brighton are attacking, right? Okay, shit like that happens. But for nearly every single team in the Premier League, you can bet your bollock that players are sprinting back. We saw it in the City game today. Bernardo Silva run from literally the middle of the West Ham. They were attacking the middle, like just past the middle of the pitch, and he sprinted back towards their corner flag. Right when that Brighton second goal went in, Sancho had just got into the shot. Rashford was nowhere to be seen, and for a bloke that had such a shit year last year, like, to not have that willing or that want to get back and help your team out it's embarrassing.
The thing is, I was saying during the watch long, don't get me wrong, the Brighton players didn't really have the skills and whatnot to bring these chances down. But the amount in the final third, the amount of balls that were dropping, it was just a Brighton player that no one was pressing. And yes, they've got away with it in that sense. But you're not going to be able to do that against better teams, and that's the worrying thing, that the Brighton, who you think might be obviously in the lower end of the season, were bossing it. Obviously,
just lost two of their best players.
Yeah, but you would think that they were the ones challenging for top four. But the thing that I genuinely feel bad for Coppers is, he said, I don't care about the result in terms of, he just wants a style. But that style that we saw today, there wasn't one. That could have been the same performance from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like if we played the second half, we did the first and lost 2-1. I'm like, all right, shit happens, because the second half seemed to be different. But again, Brighton didn't need to fucking do anything.
Yeah,
the game
was different because Eriksen, one of your creative signings, has dropped in to play a pivot because your two pivot players are wank.
The issue is he was playing as a striker.
No, listen. In the second half, when Ten Hag was told Eriksen to go sit in front of the fence, that is because Brighton going forward were offering not a lot, and Eriksen being in front of the fence allowed him to dictate the game the way that he wanted to dictate the game. Everything going forward was going through him, whether he was switching it out to the right, to the left, or going through the middle. He was dictating the game, and Brighton allowed him to do that in the second half because Brighton just weren't offering much going forward. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
And the two people that are that had a somewhat okay performance were Eriksen, the man himself, and then Donny van de Beek, which he at least there with Donny van de Beek there was a work rate, there was him, he was stringing passes together, and his overall movement was really positive. But apart from that, it was just really awful, and it was really painful.
What about your new expensive centre-back? Did he not play well?
Martinez.
He's an alright second half, apart from... We'll touch on something later, I assume Chaz mentioned about the refereeing, but second half...
We'll touch on that later.
Yeah, so...
I need to rant about something. Right, we started Eriksen as a fucking striker. Okay, we wanted Sesko, we were linked to all these other players. We want Anthony, we're not getting him. We want Frankie de Jong, not getting him. We're now going to get fucking Arnautovic as our striker.
Yeah,
it's fucking
what a
criminal.
What a signing. Signing of the season.
And what you're going to do is like, all right, we can't get you this, can't get you this, can't get you this. Here's Arnautovic. Is that all right? Like, it's a joke. Because he wants a big striker. Clearly, he's always had it.
Well,
and he's had to deal with Eriksen as a fucking striker.
Yeah.
This is like when you got that. Who's that striker you got in like 2 seasons ago for
Gallo?
Yeah, like even
it's the
that
same exact feeling.
Even that was like fucking hell. That's a bit of a struggle, but all right, this won't happen again to United. And here we are again. You're going for 33-year-old Arnautovic. Like,
brilliant.
We've said it, but just go and get Tony. Don't get me wrong; it won't be as easy as that. But
will it not?
These players,
will it not?
We're gagging for Frankie. We need to fucking change the midfield. Clearly, everyone knows that. Like, you can't win a game with zero midfield control. Like, both of these goals just come from the midfield being so open.
Right.
And you're telling me if Martial gets injured, Ronaldo doesn't want to fucking be here. We're going to play Eriksen as our striker. And now the worst comes to worst. Oh, welcome, Arnautovic. Brilliant. Fuck me.
Yeah. I've got 2 points that I want to get.
We've got our first rant for the fucking year. Come on!
I'm gonna put across 2 points, and then I want people to discuss them because I speak a lot. But the first point is a bit of a smaller point. It's the fact that leading up to Ten Hag, leading up to the start of this season, we know that Ten Hag likes to play with a keeper that has good distribution and that He's good with his feet, and you'd have to say today what you saw from De Gea was pretty
Wasn't
poor.
good enough.
You
Fulham
know
wants a
what?
goalkeeper that's good. doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's going to be interesting to see what he does with De Gea, because De Gea's got to learn. De Gea's got to learn quick, because he is nowhere near that level
Again,
when it comes to distribution stuff like
No
that.
other option.
Exactly.
Tom Heaton's your other option.
Exactly. And then the second point that has been discussed a little bit, needs discussing more. The Man United midfield, right? You know that it is fucking impressive when Adam Lallana is cropping up in positions and looking like prime fucking Iniesta, right? This bloke found the pocket in the United between the United midfield and United defence every single
Not even
attack,
fucking
right?
pocket.
And
The
I don't,
gaping space.
and that wasn't even Lallana playing like prime Iniesta. That was United's midfield genuinely so fucking incapable of playing in a midfield three and knowing what they're doing. And I'm getting mad thinking about it. If I'm a United fan, I'm fucking fuming. And Fred, he is no number 6. Fuck that guy as well.
What about McMuffin?
Yeah, I mean,
He was
Scottish-
there. He was
Scottish
like
Sedan,
mobbing
that.
you.
You can't. It's never going to work when that midfield is non-existent. And then he didn't have a horrific game for him, Harry Maguire, but he has got no pace, so you're not going to play high unless that second half we were, because it literally just throwing everything at it. But the first half, you just sat deep, and then the gap between the midfield and the defense is so big, it's fucking crazy. It may. I
want to see a Kevin De Bruyne through ball with a foot race between Haaland and Maguire, just to see him leave him in a different postcode.
It would be like a scene out the Roadrunner, or why?
And then after that,
you get meep meep.
then
and he's
after that,
off.
I want to see Haaland up against Martinez. Little short ass.
I mean, Martinez is going to be interesting because, you know, firstly, I don't know what he's thinking. The bloke's on a booking, he's done that. To get away with that, it was criminal. It was absolutely criminal. And it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with the better world-class strikers in the league.
And, I mean, talking about that, like, that Martinez tackle, I mean, that ties into the sort of next focus, which was the referee in this game week. I mean, last season it was diabolical, but I thought this weekend there was loads of decisions that were just clear decisions. I mean, first of all, Romero scissor tackling someone, getting up and not having a booking for that. Like that's just disgraceful. That's perfect example. Martinez, I did banter and say that it was a shoulder to shoulder, but he's physically shoved someone in the back for a penalty, and it hasn't been given, even though we've got VAR, which people then review. Yeah, people then review what we're looking at, and we're saying it's a penalty, and then they're somehow not. So like, I don't get where the disconnect is.
Being given.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I think that the worst decision today, and people may disagree with me, but I personally think that McTominay should have been sent off. I think it was a fucking naughty challenge.
I
think we should ban him.
It wasn't good. Yeah, I mean, United fan probably wants to, but I mean, we're talking 4 or 5 inches above the ankle. It was a bad challenge.
It was, and I think again it was just a typical McTominay challenge, but that needs to get punished. One positive that I did see from the refereeing, to not be like all doom and gloom, is that I'm pretty sure Xhaka got booked on Friday for a clear dive, which I completely encouraged, because there's only one way we're going to get rid of simulation, and that's if we start punishing it harshly.
Sorry, Jim, go on.
I was going to say another positive for me was being on the Liverpool Fulham watch. I would say, as much as that game made me so depressed, the ref was actually quite good at letting it flow and not constantly stopping for stuff. I liked him. I'd never seen him before, so I liked him.
It might be one of the new ones. There's a
crop. That shambles.
There's 4 new ones.
4
or 5.
Xhaka deserved the booking, right? 100%, no question about it. The thing that annoyed me is that 30 seconds, the referee deemed a Brentford player to dive as well. So, not Brentford, sorry, a Palace player to dive as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
consistency wasn't.
Well, consistency has been the issue with referees for God knows how long. So, I mean, I don't think that's going to change. I think it's just going to stay the way it is. The referees need some serious rework. They really do.
100%.
The thing is, well, quickly, just obviously we've got that new thing that they're saying they're going to release the audio communications between VAR and ref. So although obviously decisions are still poor, it'll be interesting to see what conversations are going on, which I think is sort of might backfire a bit because we'll go, fucking hell, these refs really are clueless. Do you know what I mean? Like when you hear the conversations they're having,
It's going to paint them in a terrible picture.
yeah, because
That's what we need, because then you fucking get rid of them.
Yeah, it'll up the left level. But obviously, like with that Masters one, he literally had his elbow smack bang in the middle of his number on his back. He didn't get the ball, and you think, in what world have
What
you
have you
thought?
said? Yeah.
There's work to be done.
You don't need $1 million of equipment. You need a screen and a replay to go, oh yeah, that's a penalty, right?
Yeah,
it'd be crazy to listen to what they've said that that's not a penalty.
Yeah, I think what sold me on it is even before I saw the replay was obviously watching the watch along to hear you say, "Yep, that's a pen." That's
when you know when Cottage is saying it.
That's when you know. That is when you know.
I thought you would have defended him to begin with, and then I did see the replay and it was
especially when in the Liverpool Fulham game. The Fulham pen that's 100% a pen. There's way more contact in that Martinez one.
Yeah,
that was a knee to knee, and he's gone down, which is fine to forgive. But Martinez has done way more contact.
Yeah,
he's assaulted him.
He's gone into the back of him and shoved him to the. It's just crazy. It really is.
I don't know what needs to happen, but I just feel like something needs to happen because it just seems like it's getting worse, and I don't know. I don't think fans are sort of getting more aware of it because sometimes that happens when you're just more aware of a situation. You sort of noticing it going on, but like something needs to change with the refs.
Seems to be
but
awful.
We'll see. That will remain to be seen. And it was just a particular highlight that kind of set. It's going to set the tone for the rest of the season, and we're going to see loads of inconsistencies. And that kind of goes without saying. It is. Premier League refs are a pony compared to stature and quality of the league and football that gets played in it. So, but that was pretty much it for game week 1. Is very good across the board. Loads of goals. There was a few iffy games, but that comes with the territory. And I mean, looking forward to game week 2. Surprisingly, I don't think we actually have a Friday game on game week 2. So
not surprising.
Yeah, so
that's just normal.
Very busy Saturday.
So very busy Saturday. We've got Aston Villa, Everton. So that's
it could be less shit.
That's like
snooze fest.
That is an absolute snooze fest. We've got Southampton Leeds at the 3 as a 3 o'clock.
In what
game.
world does that deserve the Raisin Boys there?
No,
in what world's that? We got Southampton Leeds.
Look, I
think that's what he's going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's going to be something that's going to be pivotal when we talk about in the business end of the season. Arsenal, Leicester.
We've got Super Mick Arteta.
So that one I can't see.
Also resident sleeper.
Yeah, I can't see anything but an Arsenal result there. I don't know about you guys.
3-0 Leicester.
3-0 Leicester.
Jamie Vardy's bagging. Like
he fucking loves Arsenal.
He loves it.
He does.
Got the big tune against
Brighton, Newcastle.
Don't worry.
I think that will be a better test for us compared to
game.
Forest. I'm just scared in case we have to defend a real corner this time and we'll concede.
How many is City bagging past Bournemouth?
17.
At least
in the first half.
Yeah.
And that's all whilst Edison's at the burger van in the corner.
You can guarantee that will be in a certain category on Pornhub after, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because that is going one way and one way
after
only.
domination.
Yeah.
Saturday as well, we've got the beloved United again.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that'll be the even game.
Thomas Frank, our go, coppers.
To be fair,
I said after 3 games we'd be on 3 points. So if we don't win that, we're 0. We're doing an Arsenal.
So that'll be an interesting one. That'll be televised. There is one more 3 o'clock game. Wolves Fulham, which that's another stinker.
That'd be nice to see Fulham continue their good form.
Continue their dominance.
And we've got on Sunday to open up the proceedings. We've got
snooze.
Forest West Ham, big old snooze fest as well. Maybe we'll see West Ham actually sort of come out of their shell a little bit. Maybe we'll see Forest. It is at Forest, so maybe Forest get a result against West Ham. Maybe that might be a bit of a sleeper one. And then, obviously, main event Sunday, 14th of August,
Oh,
at 4:30 is Chelsea versus the mighty Spurs.
what a game.
At Stamford Bridge, no less, as well. So that's going to be an absolute belter of a game.
Nice.
Battle of the five back.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's our test. I know Chelsea didn't look convincing, but we have won once at Stamford Bridge in I think 28 years. So this
Brighton never won against at Old Trafford. So
yeah, there you go. But that Chelsea game is going to be just
Conte versus his old club.
a test of where we really are, because they beat us 3 times last season in cups and stuff. So it weren't nice.
Partick Thistle under sevens could have won at Old Trafford today, so I don't want to hear it about Brighton.
And also,
see small clubs continue to do well.
Definitely. And also, just a quick one. Obviously, in the pre-season podcast, I sat here and all I could do was sing my praise for Arsenal fullback Nuno Tavares. I mean, what a player, absolute king. Just a quick loan watch. He scored an absolute worldie. Of Marseille tonight. Tell you what a player! What a player!
I mean, Zinchenko did get skinned a few times by
Jordan
Ayew, so you may want to recall
Yeah,
him.
he did, but my fullback also kept the clean sheet.
And to round off game week 2, we'll have a Monday night game, which is Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Historically, like over the past few years, that's been a bit of a thorn in the side for Liverpool. Like Crystal Palace have upset some title charges, Jim. So how are you feeling about that one? A couple of
Can I let you know when I see the lineup? Because if I see Firmino starting again, I won't be here on.
I don't think Firmino's starting for Liverpool for quite some time.
Hendo can start. I've dealt with him for a year now.
Jim, I've got an idea. Naby Keita in the 10.
Oh, now we're talking, Jim.
Don't, because we'll get on
Right,
to
I won't make it till Monday if you carry on. Okay.
Right, I mean that's it. Looking forward to those. Obviously, we'll be covering the majority of those games over on our YouTube. So if you do like the content, again, give us a subscribe. If you are listening on Spotify, drop us a follow. That is probably the end of the podcast. Does anyone else have anything to add? Any final words?
If Brentford win, you won't see me here next week.
Okay, cool.
And Tottenham are winning a lot.
I mean, yeah. I've got one more thing I wanted to add about Crystal Palace, actually, and touched on it Friday. Palace played well, okay? Palace played well, and we saw it last season where apparently they were playing well, but it just looks like, once again, they just can't seem to get the points, even when they do play well. So,
couldn't finish it.
That's one thing that I didn't say.
I think that's going to be a long night for them at Anfield next Monday, to be fair. I know they're historically hard for Liverpool sometimes, but I reckon that's an easy one.
Sticky one still.
I can't
let yourself be that
playing as bad that.
But then again, right? We've all seen what happens when that ball gets pinged over to the back post that Trent's defending. So if that ball gets pinged over and Zaha's coming in, you're fine.
Edouard's leaping.
Trent's eyeing up yelling the crowd. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way it goes.
Yeah,
don't blame him.
He's got to eye him up somewhere, hasn't he?
Last thing to add: if you are listening on Spotify, go get yourself on Twitter. Get yourself to @BhoysPresents
with a H in the boys.
With a H after the B. There is a giveaway link that ends in 24 hours. Win a football top of your choosing, preferably Newcastle or Spurs.
Yep. If you choose the away kit, we're saying no. we don't want to do that to
you. But yeah, get yourself entered in that. It ends in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And boys, that wraps up our first week of covering sort of sports, doing this project. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you all for your support so far. Like I said earlier on, sort of in the podcast, we did hit 50 subscribers on YouTube, so let's push for that 100. I'm going to say 100 by next week, guys. What are we saying about that? I think that's achievable.
That's a big. Well, it's now down to them to show us.
How many fake accounts are you going to make?
Too many. But yeah, of course. Also,
you know what? Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully we do get it. And then
It'd be nice.
What comes 100? 1,000. What comes of 1,000?
Exactly.
Frankie signing for
10,000.
United.
What's a 10,000?
There's no universe where that happens.
We'll make a separate video where I just rant about the Glazers, so it's fine.
But yeah, so
Ugly
that's it,
bastards.
boys. Thank you very much for tuning in on YouTube or listening on Spotify on your way to work, drinking your coffee. If you do want to drop a follow on any of our socials, BhoysPresents on Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube. And until next week, we'll see you then. Peace.